Hey there. So today, before beginning, if you like this kind of content, if you say, that umbrella guy, I love what you do, I love this channel and just can't get enough, well, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you hit that bell for daily notifications. And if you want to go further, if you want to be able to help out the channel, because this kind of stuff is wrong think, well, then check out the links in the description. More on this and other things at the end of the video, as well as thanking you for, of course, showing up. So today we are going to return to my favorite subject right now, and that is the brigading that we've seen over the last month plus that has culminated in the firing of a prestigious voice actor. Now, this kind of stuff I have seen in the past. I have seen people go out and try to put someone in their place, but I've never seen it quite like this. It's quite amazing, too, to see some of the names that have been attached to that and to see what transpires if you so much as voice a hint of, I'm not walking lockstep with you. We look at Monica, for example, what she's thrown out in the last, say, few weeks. She's talked about, hey, I'm working with divisions of law enforcement that deal with cyber crimes, and she's not talking about people doxing. There have been people that have tried to throw out her number and on, but she was threatening people that just threw out comments. Obviously, I do not support doxing. I will make that crystal clear. Most people do not, but I also do not support people saying they're going to send you a cease and desist letter because, hey, you're a YouTuber, and YouTubers, they don't know nothing. They just sit around and speculate and spread other lies. Also, of course, when these folks have been saying that, innocent until proven guilty, that's only in a court of law. So, of course, if they say it, it's the end-all be-all, right? I mean, that pretty much is the judge, the jury, and the executioner when it comes to claims. If you have any other idea on it, if you have any other notion of what might or might not be true, well, you're just out of luck. Fun times. Now, today, we actually had an article come out from IO9. And IO9, they had quite a bit to say. What was interesting is they threw in some old, unsubstantiated rumors, things out there that talk about how terrible Vic is and on. And they also decided to add in new stuff. This new stuff, it was accompanied by an accusation from Monica. And I found that to be quite interesting because not only did we finally hear something there, but I always hear Ron, her fiance. I hear his voice in the background saying, Neil Kaplan is innocent because he's only been accused once. But if you're accused multiple times, you're actually a monster. I stand with my friends. Innocent. Interesting. So, here is something that Monica had to say to someone in private messages. I thought that this was interesting. I forget who this came from, so I apologize. If you would message me or tell me in the messages below that this belonged to you, if you want credit, I definitely don't want to remove credit from you. But this was a private message that was thrown out on Twitter. Jordan, I was assaulted in 2007. I chose to forgive him because I considered him a friend. I am the only person in the industry who had the guts to confront him about his behavior repeatedly. You'll see these lines multiple times. I came forward with my story after reports were filed by 3 of my friends for the exact same thing that happened to me. This was well after the Broly premiere. I told my story to corroborate theirs. I don't owe you anything or anyone else a police report or anything, really. This case is in the hands of the proper authorities. All cases of inappropriate behavior have been reported throughout the years. He's been fired from numerous companies, and most cons have canceled his appearance. And that should be enough to tell you who's telling the truth. Please don't contact me about this again. So basically somebody getting rid of you from a job, that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that something transpired. Here's a little hint on that too. HR is not your friend. Corporate lawyers are not your friend. When they see this kind of stuff rising, those storms, they kind of scare companies. And especially when you look at the storm that started on social media. Now, interestingly, in that IO9 article, they mentioned that there was an investigation before the Broly movie, and well, that investigation, it came back inconclusive. So, what happened between then and what happened between now? Since they had all of this information out there, why exactly did they decide he was guilty? I mean, if all of this stuff had been reported, and had been thrown out there, why now? Maybe when you look on social media, you can answer that question. Now, we're going to go through the new Monica statements, and there is a certain part here that truly catches my eye. I apologize for lashing out and threatening fans. I don't want to have to take people to court or send law enforcement after them, but I was doing what I felt necessary to protect myself at the time. There's a watch list, and I have names and numbers of multiple harassers, but I'm willing to forgive if you stop the madness now. Now, these folks have called people that so much as utter, an idea that doesn't lockstep. That has been harassment. Not people trying to throw out their number, which has happened too, but people that just have an opinion. Apparently, they're keeping a watch list. They're keeping names and numbers of folks and calling them multiple harassers. And they think they're going to send that to law enforcement because, you said something on social media. It was on a public forum, and you damn well, you can say anything you want about something in a public forum, but apparently, folks here, they think that they can go out and they can threaten you because of it. Amazing stuff. So anyhow, let's start this off. First, please know that I've tried to address his behavior with him. I'm the kind of friend that will tell you when you have food in your teeth, and I was tired of people talking about him behind his back. Because great friend here. Great friend. How would he change if he didn't know his behavior was wrong? Each time he would apologize, he would be at it within weeks. The Sulios slowly began to stop working with him, not just because of sexual harassment, but because he was difficult to work with. Even though he had a huge fan following, directors began to look elsewhere. So here are multiple accusations that have been levied, and I think that that's kind of interesting to see, hey, we have a fallback here, because you know what? He doesn't just disrespect me. He disrespects you as well. And that's actually a mirror of what was said before. If you look at that personal DM there, you can see how that it actually lines up. So it's kind of interesting to put it together. Continuing, whenever he saw me, he would take a fistful of my hair, pull my head back, and either whisper so closely to my ear that his lips were touching or kiss my cheek and neck. Now, if you think back to the to not just Monica, but Jamie Marshy's comments, this sounds just like it. He reached up, he started stroking my hair, then he splayed his fingers and made a first. That's what the article actually said there. So, you see this, he pulled my head back and forth, and then he whispered in my ear. Sounds like the same accusation. Continuing, this was usually done in front of fans or colleagues, so I had to be very careful about how I reacted. So you're telling me that in the middle of, gatherings of fans and colleagues, he would abuse you, he would attack you, and you were like, hey, you got to stop that. And he would do that to you again. Where is the video of that? I would love to see it. I would love to see that. Is it going to be like Neil Kaplan saying, jump on my back? I mean, that actually was a violation. I wonder how that'll go. But continuing, I didn't even realize how inappropriate it was because he did it to so many people. I've witnessed it happen just as others have witnessed it happen to me, colleagues and fans. So here, again, we have that set up. I didn't even realize it was a problem. That bothers me when I see that. It bothers me because there's this revelation suddenly that it's some type of a problem. The behavior out there, it wasn't a problem until, I decided it was. It's just like the fan pictures out there. The posing with, those hugs, those kisses, they weren't a problem. I enjoyed them until But continuing, it was in the mid-2000s. We were in a convention together, and he grabbed me and kissed me in his hotel room. I froze. You may wonder why I didn't yell or scream or push him away. I was scared. Why? Because I was raped as a teenager, and I learned that sometimes fighting back makes it worse. Why did I go to his room? Because he asked me to watch a video, and I trusted him because he was my friend. Not only that, but because he was dating my friend Michelle, and I had been flirting with my soon-to-be boyfriend at the convention all week. After that experience, I distanced myself from him, and unfortunately Michelle as well. I felt incredibly guilty, even though I hadn't done anything wrong. I went to therapy and worked on forgiveness. I chose to forgive him for what he'd done. Maybe it was just me. Maybe it was just a one-time thing that never was repeated. You can imagine my devastation when I learned that it wasn't the only one. He was happening to colleagues and, worse yet, convention attendees. So, you went up to the hotel room, he kissed you, and I'm confused by this. How exactly does that lay out? When I look at this, is this setting up like the stuff above? And I hate to hear about someone saying that they were raped as a teenager. This kind of stuff. It's so easy to be dismissive about that. But you know what? I'm not going to be dismissive about it at all. I hate to hear that kind of stuff. Those kind of things, it happens to a lot of people, and it's a terrible thing. But, he said, hey, I went up to watch a video. I was sitting around there, and, somehow he grabbed me, kissed me in his hotel room. I didn't respond or push him away. So did it end right there? I wonder. So all of the pictures and messages that are being passed around were taken at press events and premieres from Bowling Movie in mid-December. After about 2 weeks after that, 3 of my close friends came forward. When these friends shared their stories with me, I was heartbroken. How could this happen to 3 of my close friends without me ever knowing? As more people came forward, I began to see the similarities. I chose to share my testimony with investigators solely because it corroborated the others' testimony. I didn't start this. I have nothing to gain. I didn't steal anyone's role or titles. The stuff you're hearing on YouTube is all lies, attempting to create drama to get subs and views. I'm perfectly content being just a voice actor. So, anyone that asks about that, anyone that says, I'm hearing this, I'm curious about that, I basically don't want to burn someone down, they're just lying. They're just trying to create drama for subs and views. Isn't that interesting to know, too? But continuing here, the investigations were incredibly thorough. Each person was interviewed, the evidence weighed, and a decision made. Each company has to look out for the safety of their employees. In this instance, these companies felt that they made the best decision to protect their employees and contract workers. Now, number one, when you're talking about this, why in the world would you bring up a private investigation within a company? That kind of stuff. Again, when you start talking about it, I'm sure that you violate some kind of contract that you have with the company, just like the company probably violated a contract with Vic when it started bringing up the things that transpired behind the scenes. Also, when they're talking about the company making decisions for employees, what they do is they make decisions for self. That's why we have HR. That's why we have corporate lawyers, because that stuff sets up there. But continuing on, also these companies aren't obligated to share any information with you. Actually, they're obligated not to share any information with you, but they decided to come out and do that anyway. But continuing on, yet again, many of these women who have come forward have chosen to remain anonymous, especially after seeing the way that I've been attacked. I have been attacked here, because again, burning down someone's career, but of course you're being attacked. All right, please respect their privacy. I don't want to come forward on Twitter, but I felt like I had to do something because my friends' lives, children, and careers were being threatened. Now that's an interesting statement considering. So you're worried about other people's careers being threatened, and yet you've allowed a guy, you said yourself here that this guy, maybe he's not professional out there, maybe people don't want to deal with him, and he likes to pull hair, and he kissed me. Okay, that is not the accusations that you've seen attached to the guy, where people are calling him a P to the E to the D to the O, but yet you're not worried about that. None of you are. None of you seem to give a crap about what is going out during this brigading. It's absolutely insane. Continuing. Also, I knew if I didn't, there was a very good chance that this would get swept under the rug again. Yeah, there's a statement about those investigations. So the investigations that were incredibly thorough, they were inconclusive. This kind of stuff, it wasn't going to go anywhere. So people went out, they brigaded against the guy, and when they did so, suddenly everything changed. Suddenly places started dropping the guy again on rumors, again on innuendo, and then the company decided to do something. That in and of itself looks like a reason that you might be held culpable. But continuing, in this part, man, I apologize for lashing out and threatening fans. I apologize for basically not going out and not respecting you as a consumer. I don't want to have to take people to court or send law enforcement after them, but I was doing what I felt was necessary to protect myself at the time. You mean, when you were going out and saying those YouTubers, they don't know anything, they need to be given cease and desist orders, those people are in violation because you're posting this, as you said, you're posting this to social media, but you think people can't talk about it. It's very interesting that way. There is a watch list. Now, this is the creepiest part of this. There is a watch list, and I have the names and numbers of multiple harassers. But I'm willing to forgive you if you'll stop the madness now. That is a threat. That is a threat. I have your name. I have the numbers of many of you. But if you shut up, if you sit down, then, very interesting. I don't want to threaten fans, but if you don't shut up, then I got your name, I got your number. Continuing on, you may feel like that my colleagues and I have been harsh, but let me ask you, how would you respond if your life was being threatened? The lives of your loved ones, your friends, your family's children were being threatened. If your addresses and your phone numbers were being passed around like candy so people could call or drive by to antagonize you. If the local authorities made sure to drive by your house daily just to make sure you're okay. So the one thing that I have actually seen is someone's number being passed around. That is not okay, by the way. Let me make that perfectly clear. This other stuff, we have seen false accusations be attached to fandom. Now, how exactly does that work out? How exactly do you think that levying, say, fake swatting accusations, or to say, hey, doubling down on that, when a certain voice actor decided he would, and that was also proven like false here, how exactly does that fit into that? You don't think that people should talk about that? I like how the things that were talked about before, they end up being conflated to this to make sure that you're silent, to make sure that you don't continue talking about it because you don't want to be lumped into this. If you were forced to be on the phone with various law enforcement and lawyers every single day, lawyers there, so what are you talking about lawyers with law enforcement? I mean, how exactly does that work out? One of the things you might ask them is what you're culpable for. What exactly you've done and what exactly, you could be held liable for here. Continuing, if people were trying to get you fired because you came forward with the truth. So, you came forward. You said that a dude needed to be fired. He needed to be taken down. You said that you did all of this in the public eye because you were trying to get this guy fired. You wanted to get this thrown out there. You didn't want it swept under the rug again. And, but you're saying, hey, people shouldn't do that kind of stuff. Interesting. If you were doxxed because people think it's fun to attack those who are hurting. Again, doxing, we've talked about that many times. Doxing is not acceptable in any form. But again, the threats came because people were covering this material. So again, this part right here, that sounds great on social media until you go back and you look at what people were being threatened for saying. So continuing on here, I've always stood up for this community. I've always loved the anime fandom from the moment I went to my first convention. To be threatened like this by the community I love really hurts my heart. So can you imagine being a voice actor out there, thinking all the people out there were your friends and suddenly having them turn on you? Have you looked at that? No, that doesn't matter here because, of course, brigading. Continuing, I recently stood up for the Dragon Ball fandom only to have that community come back and attack me mercilessly. It's been so incredibly painful, I can't even express. I've never said anything hurtful toward Vic or any of his fans. I don't want to ruin his life. He was or is my friend. He is not your friend. You are not going and you are not trying to help him out. I don't want him to be labeled a predator for life. Look at what you're attaching to him. He reached on my hair. He grabbed me by the hair in front of fans and in front of other people out there. He did this, and, well, that kind of thing suddenly, supposedly, happening in front of everyone, but no one deciding to bring that up. That's number one. Needs to make him a predator. And then, you talk about, I went to his room, we sat down, he kissed me. I didn't say anything about that. I'm not sure exactly what transpired in that other than that, but, that right there, that makes you a predator as well. I want to get him help and to realize that his actions may have hurt many people, including me. If he takes the necessary steps to better himself, then perhaps I would be willing to forgive him again. So go out and admit your wrongdoing. And, if you kneel on broken glass, even though you potentially didn't do anything, well, then, we'll forgive you, possibly. But I'm tired of the fighting. I'm tired of the threats, all of it. From here on, I will only be posting positivity and light. Any threats or retaliation will be met with an immediate block. What the heck is retaliation? If you want to block me, that's fine. I don't actually talk to these people themselves. I go over what they throw out and I review their wording. I go over exactly what they say. It's interesting that a lot of that is seen as threats to these folks. Continuing and finishing. I'm not wasting any more time on this matter. It's over. Yeah, would you be saying that if it were you being accused of something? You can't see what people are looking at. What people are saying is, we have listened, but we wanted to see something there. We wanted substantiation. You said that stuff like that happened in front of fans, that happened in front of other people. Where are the videos of that? Surely there is something out there, right? I mean, surely that is going to be something that people would say, hey, that's really weird that dude does that. Why would he do it? Again, is that like Kaplan, having a little back ride and saying that's my Me Too moment? But finishing that out, this has been incredibly difficult for everyone involved. Be kind to one another. Much love. Very interesting statement there. I really like the way that middle part comes across. Like I say, we went from someone telling us that making statements online would basically, get you reported to the FBI, that it didn't matter, what you were doing out there. You're basically lying because you need those clicks and views. And, if you have anything to say about that, well, then I'm keeping a watch list. I have your numbers and I have your names. But if you shut up now, yeah, fun times. So anyhow, tell me what you think. Now, if you like this kind of content, as I said, sub to the channel if you don't mind. Also, hit that bell for notifications, and there are links in the description. This is current year wrongthink. It's the kind of stuff that's not incentivized. And, well, when you go out and you look up this kind of madness, if you want to support the channels that do that, well, again, links in the description. Leave comments as well. I do want to know what you're thinking, pro or con, agree or disagree. I want to know. And I want to end saying this. I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you subscribing to a channel, making these things work, because you are the thing that makes every endeavor possible. That's what these kind of people forget. They forget you. They forget who put them in those positions. And, well, I don't forget that. Many of us don't. So I want to end this by saying thank you. And, of course, we'll do it again.